moment because I've been in the industry for so long, and I've actually been to the Grammy ceremony a couple of times too. And I remember it was like over 20 years ago. And I said the second time I was at the Grammys, I am not going to the Grammys until I'm invited.
Yes.
And then here I am this year, you know, going to the Grammys, invited, nominated, and I cannot, you know, put into words how honored I am to be nominated with such an amazing group of artists. They're all ethnic artists, Black artists from all around the world, on this album, the One Tribe album. And just the collaboration amongst us all has just been incredible, and meeting these amazing artists and actually working with them through this amazing, I mean, this crazy pandemic and COVID situation. We have never met before, never.
No.
And we're going to meet for the first time at the Grammys. I mean, how iconic is that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you received the Grammy, speaking about your album, the One Tribe album, you receiving the Grammy nomination for We're All the Same, which is one of the songs that's on the album.
That is my featured song on the All One Tribe album. Yes.
Did you think that this song would have made it this big? Like, was you looking?
No, I mean, I honestly, I had no clue. When I was writing these songs, I mean, really for me, writing the Snook Nook music, which is my children's brand music, basically, I was really kind of looking to write things that would actually help me as a mom, as a new mom, to teach my kids life lessons and things like that. I was looking for an easier way to convey the messages that would actually stick in their heads. So, you know, I started with like basic hygienes, and then like going to school, social awareness, mindfulness, and things like that. And I just never thought that this song would even make it this far. I just thought, okay, well, at least my kids will know it. You know, and, you know, and if some of the other parents around me may take hold of it, that'd be great. But I never really honestly thought that it would, first of all, make it onto an album that would be nominated for a Grammy. And to have this song in rotation on, you know, streaming everywhere, and people messaging me saying how they love the song and how their kids are singing it. And this message is such a universal message. This is something we want to teach our kids. This is something we want to leave them thinking at a young age, you know, because this is how I feel like in order to change the world we're in and to make it a better place, it has to start with the kids, and it starts at home. So if they're learning messages like this at a younger age, at a, you know, toddler age, and you know, till childhood, early childhood, then we're going to be sitting pretty, you know, in a few years, because as they get older, they're going to remember these messages, and they're going to live by these messages that they were taught when they were younger. So it means a lot to me that this message is actually getting out to, you know, many families.
Yes, no, and like I said, that is big. So I just wanted to start with that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Grammy nominee is like one of the biggest goals anybody would want. So I did my research. I also know that you go by, I don't want to say this wrong, your artist name, which is your alias name, you would say. Is it Snook Nook?
Yeah, so Snook Nook is my artist name for my children's music. And yes, and then Cheri Moon is my alter ego for my pop and dance stuff. Yeah.
How did you come up with your artist? How did you come up with Snook Nook? Is that like a childhood name, or? Well,
Snook Nook came about because I used to actually call my kids Snook Nook. That was their nickname that I used to call them. So, and it's basically like, you know, a term of endearment. It's like what any parent would, you know, as parents, we make up many names for our kids, whether it's Boo Bear or a Baby Bear or a Honey Bunch or whatever it is, whatever you call your kid when they're that tiny and they're just the most adorable thing. You know, whatever rolls off your tongue.
I have a 1-year-old now, so I call
what do you call him?
Cupcake Head.
Where do you get that from? Who made that up?
Honestly, I just made it up. I'm a new mom, so I'm literally just like, you know, learning everything. My daughter is on 1. She'll be 2 in October. So yeah,
you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just make up stuff, you know?
Yeah, you do.
So that's where Snook Nook came from. Snook Nook was my nickname I called my kids, and it just stuck with me. And when I started writing these songs, I just felt like it was the appropriate name for me as a children's artist.
Yes, no, that's big. That I like that name. I like it actually. It actually stood out to me when I was doing my research. I'm like, Snuck Nut. Oh yeah, that's like, oh hey, Snuck Nut. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Funny.
So I also know that you have worked with Julie Pacino in Brainstorm, is that correct? And you worked with Anthony Anderson in Sonically.
Yeah.
How was that? How was it working with those two great actors?
So Julie Pacino,
I want to.
so Julie Pacino is a director. She's a female director.
Director. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She is an amazing talent. All of her projects have just an overall amazing feel for them. Like it's very specific. Like when you watch her work, you know it's her. You know, so she really has this this look that she goes for, this overall tone, and it's incredible. So I was really honored to be a part of her project, Brainstorms, which is about a film about people with head injuries, specifically from being in the army or in war and things like that, and how it traumatizes them for the rest of their lives and how they deal with it, and also not that it only affects them. It also affects the people around them, like their wives or their kids or their, all parts of their families. And I played one of the wives that was affected because my husband came back with a head injury and he was basically just disoriented. He was there, but then he wasn't there. And we had a 6-year-old daughter and just kind of thinking, being happy that you're getting your husband back from the war, but then he comes back and he's really not back. Yeah. And he's, and you're taking care of him, and your 6-year-old daughter is taking care of her dad, so that's kind of what that movie's about. And it's really, really touching. And I was really honored to play that part, because I've never experienced that firsthand, but I've always wondered how a lot of these soldiers come back and what they deal with when they get back from war. And it's quite traumatizing, really.
Yeah. A lot of a lot of stuff like that. Yeah.
And so she's great at telling. She's a great storyteller, first of all. And like I said, she keeps you engaged because the look of the film is just incredible. And she's just a great director. I just worked with her also on this NFT project.
Yeah. You can talk about, okay. Yeah. You can talk about that
now. Yeah.
So how is this is like the first Black NFT film that you're working on, correct?
So it's the first film that has been funded through an NFT. Yes. Yes. So it's go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry to cut you off. But for those who don't know, like our viewers, can you just elaborate more on like what NFT is and how important it is to understand?
Well, NFT is a new platform where, especially this area where people are launching different media arts like pictures, videos, just all types of like art media creatively. And they're launching it, and you can buy these little entities with real money. We're talking about real cash, it's a real cash economy. And you can own these little interesting pieces, this piece of art, let's say. That's a picture, or it's like some type of steel, or it's a painting, or whatever it is. And you can actually there's a market to actually buy them, to either hold on to them, kind of like stocks or crypto, per se. And they can go up in value. So it can go up in value, and you can actually resell them. So there's a resale market as well. So a lot of people are actually investing in a lot of art because this actually gives artists another platform to actually, have their art be worth something, which is incredible. And you're getting these one-of-a-kind pieces. Like if you buy something, there's only one of those, and you are the owner, and it's not duplicated. So if someone else wants them, they either have to buy it back from you. You can put it on the market, whatever you want to do with it, or you can hold out on it and just see how much it goes up. It's kind of like, it really is kind of like, crypto or stocks or things like that. So it's a new platform. I'm still actually trying to understand it myself.
More information. I'm trying to understand. That's why I asked. I'm one of the viewers that needs to know what it's about.
Yeah.
So you just kind of explain it well. Yes,
it can be confusing, but I think it's definitely worthwhile to check out because it's growing. It's a growing platform, and like I said, Julie Pacino has funded her entire film with her, with all her skills and her images that she went and shot, that we all shot at the Madonna Inn, which was amazing. And yeah, so it's incredible.
That is amazing, because NFT is really big now, and I see like everything that's going on with like Ukraine and Russia, they're like pressuring you to like invest in NFTs and crypto. So would you say this is a good time? Are you like an investor? Would you say this is a good time to invest?
I have some pieces. Yes, I have to say I do have some pieces. I definitely have a few pieces of the Julie Pacino I Live Here Now collection, which of course I'm biased because I'm a part of it, but I feel like, you know, she's an up and coming artist. She's amazing. I think she's only going to get better, and I think her work is just going to speak for herself in a matter of years. So I think that's definitely a great investment. And also just looking for all these different other platforms, or not platforms, but other artists on there, and finding what actually speaks to you. And I think that's how you should kind of lead with what you feel, what speaks to your heart, because it's getting saturated. So sometimes it can be hard to make a decision, but I say whatever's, you know, what you feel strongly about is what you should go for.
Yes.
But yes, now is the time for sure.
Now is the time. I heard now is the time to invest.
Now is the time.
I'm learning myself about stocks. I'm trying to, ever since I had my daughter, I'm just trying to get on everything. Like my mind is just like spinning. So you're a mother, you're a mother of two, right? How do you balance all the work you have to do and motherhood? Like, that's the reason why I asked to push the interview a little bit earlier, because this is when my daughter's in daycare. So so I have the free time. She's not running back and forth or nothing. So how do you balance it? What's some advice that you would be able to give me and other new moms?
Well, first I need to make a correction, because it's like sticking in my head. I am a mother of three, actually. I have two. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's because okay, because on the
I know. Well, a lot of people mistake, because I talk about my daughters so much because they're younger, and they're my biological daughters, and then I have my son, who I pretty much adopted since he was 5, and that's my husband's previous relationship, and his ex died, so I've raised him since he was 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've had him full on since 5, and he's mine.
Yeah.
Even though
of course.
You know. So I want to make that correction, because that does not sit well for me, mother of 2, you know. So I am a mother of 3.
Wait, a mother of 3, guys. Let's get it correct.
Going back to your question. It's hard to balance, girl. It is a lot. And I struggled with it, honestly. I mean, just like a lot of mothers do. It's not something that you take lightly and you think, oh, you know, and no one is, yes, we're all super moms and in the grand scheme, but it's hard to really balance and be a great mom, be a great person, be a great, if you're married or whatever, in a relationship, a great, you know, partner. It's all very, very hard to do simultaneously. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like if you just take it one day at a time and just take some time for yourself, that's what I did not do earlier when my kids were toddlers. It was very hard because, you know, having a toddler, it's very hard to take that time for yourself. But you actually, I feel like the only way I was able to do it was actually plan the time with my child, make sure that I plan the day, so then I can, like, you know, try to sneak out and whatever I can, or take a moment, whether it's in my room or whatever moment for you to have just time to think about nobody but yourself. Yes. I think that's so important. It's so hard to do, but I think that even whether it's 30 minutes a day, whether it's an hour a day, and that, you know, I mean, I could say even people that don't have kids and they're workaholics, I say that is the best remedy for keeping yourself sane, is taking a moment and just shutting out the world and, you know, just kind of reflecting. And if you're into meditation or whatever it is you're into, channel that and do it, because it'll help. That's my number one thing. And I try to do that even now.
Do you have a lot of, like, I mean, your schedule is hectic, but do you take time for yourself now?
I try. Yeah, I really have, like, well, since the pandemic, I've actually gotten more into meditation, which I used to meditate. What do you mean? Like, what are you doing? What did you just sit there and close your eyes and do what?
Yes. How did you learn? Did you like do YouTube, or like it was just
Yep.
something that you just
Yep.
YouTube, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just found some videos on YouTube. I mean, I heard people talk about, like, I heard that segment that Oprah did with Russell Simmons, and
Yes.
how they do yoga and meditation. And I was just like, it sounds all great and stuff and hunky dory, but I was like, am I really gonna do that?
Yeah.
No. But yeah, the pandemic was a bit stressful, I think, and it just kind of forced me to look for other ways to calm myself and really, really recenter, get centered. And I think that's, even if, and I'm still not an expert at meditation, it takes time to keep doing it and actually trying to zone out. Like, I remember the first time I tried, I was sitting there, I was really trying to stop my thoughts from rushing in all the time and taking over. Because of course, when you're sitting there, you think about all the things you got to do. I got to do this, and then suddenly you're not really taking a moment. So, but the more you actually, it's like anything else. If you practice and you practice and you keep trying, you'll actually start to grow in the amount of time you're actually able to shut down those thoughts and really kind of just have silence. I mean, I even at this point, I'm still probably maybe at 5 to 7 minutes where I could just like shut it off, but yeah, I mean, even that is still, I'm grateful for. So
yes, no, like I say meditation is extremely important. Like you said, you always need to take time for yourself, especially with the pandemic, and like everything is just like going up and down. So we never know where we're gonna end up. It's like every day you gotta watch the news and hope, like, okay, is it gonna get better or is it gonna get worse? But yes,
exactly. We're on a roller coaster right now. So
yes, we are. We definitely on a roller coaster. So I wanted to take it back to your journey, because one of your number one songs, Ain't Iron Woman, it was number one. It went number one on the DJ Spin charts. And I also read that it was inspired by the Sojourner Truth speech. So how did that come about? What made you create a song based on like her speech?
Well, that speech was very dear to me because in high school, as a punishment, I had to learn it from one of my teachers because I did something wrong. She always gave these like very intense punishments. And my punishment one day was like, you go and learn the Sojourner Truth speech, Ain't I a Woman, and you come back and you're going to perform it in front of the whole class, the very next day. So I was like, okay, so I go, I'm learning the speech. Of course, I'm like, I don't want to learn it. Who wants to do this? And then my grandmother heard me saying these words in the other room. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I got to do this thing. And, I'm just like, I just got to learn it. I don't want to do it. And she's like, well, if you're going to learn, you can't say it like that. And this and that. And she starts telling me about how important it was and telling me basically why Sojourner Truth said those words, what it was about, the whole thing, the history behind it. And so then I felt just like, and suddenly in that moment too, she really was just like my grandmother was a big woman and she raised her arms and like, it was just, she spoke with power, all the time, so it was just like, when she said those words to me, I just thought, oh my God, like I have to learn this properly. I can't just go in there and just be ratting off these words like they mean nothing. You know what I mean? Because these words mean everything to a lot of women, and people. So I was like, oh God, so it was so it became very pressurized that moment. And so I was like, okay, and I was already into performing and doing theater at that point too. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do a cape and I'm going to get a cane and grandma, can I borrow your crutch? And,
you wanted the whole package. Yes.
So that next day, needless to say, they got a show for sure. They got a show. I put on a show, one woman show. I was Sojourner Truth, honey, and no one could tell me I wasn't. So yeah, so it was cool. And then so then my teacher was like, Miss London was like, okay, so well, we have Black History program coming up and you're going to perform that speech in front of the whole school. So I was like, oh my God, why now? So then it went from performing at the Black History program. There was a lady in the audience who wanted me to perform at some mayor's ball or whatever it was, like downtown. So then I did that. And then I got invited to perform at the Memphis in May thing. Like I'm from Memphis, Tennessee originally.
Yes, so, I know. I see that.
Yeah. So it just kept going. So that speech was, I spent so much time, saying that speech for a long, for an extended time. So it really stuck with me, and really the meaning kind of like hit home after a while. And as I got older, and then obviously started learning more about history and what has actually happened, and all, though we have grown so much in this world, and women are able to do a lot of different things, and we're conquering and we're pushing down boundaries and this and that, I still feel like, when I decided to release the song, I was feeling like, as a mom, as an artist that's a mom, we're still so prohibited in what we are able to, what people accept us doing, because we may be getting older, or we can't do it because we are a mom. We can't, you can't do this because you have kids now, and whatever. So I wanted to just say with the song, because I was feeling a little trapped myself, and feeling like, okay, where do I go from here? That you can do anything if you want to do it. And it doesn't matter where you are in your life. If you feel in your heart that you can do it, then don't let anyone else tell you you can't. And that, and I don't want any woman or girl or child, whatever, to feel like they are trapped, or, they are prohibited from thinking they can do, or reaching their dreams and their goals. If you have a goal, or if you have a dream, I don't care how old you are, you better keep chasing it until you get it done, And the thing is that honestly, this Grammy nomination is one of the things that I'm just like, this is something I've dreamt about for many, many years, many years. And so I never would have expected it to come this way. I was expecting, I'm going to be this solo artist, this pop star, and whatever, this dance artist, I'm going to get a Grammy, and, but no, it came from me doing children's music, teaching kids social awareness and mindfulness. And hey, you know what? It is better off that way, because this song has a message. The album has an even bigger message, and it is incredible, and it is important. This album is really important, that it hits the ears of children everywhere and families everywhere. So, I mean, honestly, when I say listening to the universe and listening to God and letting him carry you, because he knows best, or she knows best, whatever, it's like that. I say, stick with it. You stick with it. You don't know how it's going to all turn out, and it may not turn out exactly how you thought or planned. But if you stay with it, it will happen.
Oh my God, you just spoke to me. After this interview, I need to go write down some affirmations and get us together. Because like you said, I think about so much stuff, and like I have so many goals I want to accomplish, but it's extremely hard. Like you said, when you're worried about 10 other things, and then you just like everything is just grabbing you, and like every different
so all the time. And we get so sidetracked as mom, because we put our kids first. And that's okay, but you cannot forget to reach back for yourself and pull yourself, pull yourself up. I mean, your kids, like I said, someone was asking me something, I was like, because I'm like, I write children's music, I still write pop music, I do dance music. I may wear risque clothes every now and then when I feel like I do what I feel, and my kids love me for what I do, because I honor myself. And if that is the best lesson that you can teach them, that they have to honor their true selves. And I am an artist, yes, I am a mom, but I am an artist. I love to sing. I like to perform. I like to do all of these things, and I won't stop doing it, so, and if they know that they see that their mom just keeps fighting and keep doing things that they love, they're going to know that there's power in that. There's power in that. And that is the best thing that I can teach them, so, and that's the best things we can teach our kids, is to never give up and never sacrifice ourselves, and our dreams, so.
Yes, I totally
gotta do it, girl. Get those affirmations and
sometimes I do it one day, and then like 2 weeks will go fly by, and then like I would totally forget about it. But this year I always said I wanted to stay on top of it and like put myself first, because it took me a while after I had my daughter to get back to feeling myself. I had a C-section, so that pain was like extremely hard.
Oh, you had a C-section, you said?
Yes.
Yes, I had too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the recovery process is,
Mhm.
oh, it's horrible. Like I said,
Yeah.
and they always say if you have another kid, that I'm gonna most likely will have another C-section. And if I have to have another C-section, I do not want to have another kid. I
Yeah.
do not want to go through that again at all.
Yeah, yes, it's definitely more. It's more of a surgery. It really is. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a proper surgery, and people don't really realize that. And the recovery time, yes, is a little bit more. But yeah, it's hard. But you can't. You just gotta press on. And even if you do decide to do it, honey, you did it the first time, you'll do it again, and you'll come out. You know,
Right.
honestly, because I thought I wasn't going to be able to recover from the first one. I was like, oh boy, like what? But you know what? I'm so happy I did. And you know what? He doesn't give us anything that we can't handle, you know? So
Amen. Amen.
yes.
So your song, okay, speaking about the Ain't I a Woman, the Sojourner Truth inspired song. That song opened a lot of doors for you. You was able to perform at the first ever Black Woman Family Music Festival. Can you talk more about that? How was that?
So the Kukuza Fest is what it's called.
Kukuza, okay.
Kukuza,
I didn't know how to say it, so I didn't want to mess up.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I know. Trust me, when I heard, I was like, the Kahoo. But yeah, Kukuza Fest. I'd seen it the year before. So last year, 2021 is when I performed. I saw it for the first time in 2020. And it was a mix. It wasn't just male or female. It was a mix of different family artists. And I think that was probably the moment where I realized that there were a lot of other artists, and especially Black artists in this family music space. And I had never known that. I never knew that. So that was just an amazing discovery. Yeah. When I saw that all these Black faces and Black artists, singing children's music and family music, and not just one genre either. It was such a melting pot. It was, reggae and pop and country and just a folk and, everything. And I was like, wow, hip hop, like everything. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I actually ended up watching the entire thing because a lot of people think that children's music is cheesy. Yeah. And it's stuff that you hear on those TV shows. It's like I turn it off in 2 seconds. Yeah. You want to turn it off in 2 seconds. Yeah. What I try to do with Snook Nook music is I try to incorporate a lot of different genres, so yes, we do have hip hop, we have pop, we have R&B, we have a lot of strings and orchestral sounds. There's a lot of dynamics in the songs. And I really try to make it where the music not only speaks to the children, but it speaks to the parents too. And so they don't want to turn it off in 2 seconds. Because the parents are the ones who have to play the music for the children. Yes. So I really wanted it to be a journey that they can, parents and kids and families can do together. And, I feel like I succeeded because I get a lot of, families going, wow, we can't stop. We're playing this in the car. We can play it here and we're all singing and it's great. So when I discovered the Kukuza Fest and saw a lot of those artists there, I saw a lot of the same things and I actually was glued to the screen and I was like, oh my God, wow, these artists are fantastic. Like I was listening to the songs and really, I stayed tuned through the whole thing. And it was I think it was almost a 2-hour event or something. It was more than an hour, which is, you have other things to do. You can go do anything else. But I literally stayed glued to the TV and watched that entire festival and was super impressed with everyone. So I connected with this organization called Family Music Forward, who is a group of artists in the family music space that creates opportunities for ethnic artists and people of color and all that to come together and make change in the industry for family music and children's music artists. And so I found them, joined that organization, and that's how I met a lot of the artists that are part of the One Tribe Collective, the All One Tribe album. Yes. And that's when we started connecting and this and that. And I actually got asked to be one of the headliners for the Kukuza Fest that following year, which was 2021. They were honoring Black women in the family music space. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I was just watching this last year, hoping and wishing that I could be a part of it. And how could I come in contact with all these amazing artists. And here I am, like being asked to, you know, perform and be one of the headliners. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Full circle moment right there.
Yeah.
That
so I was so happy. And, you know, from there, it just went on. And that's how we started to collaborate on different songs. And then we decided to do an album, and that's what happened. So we collaborated on a song that we all sang together. And then we did our own song with different producers. And some people still collaborated amongst each other as well for their single song, you know, as well. So it was so amazing. I mean, we had Zoom meetings. We were having like happy hour moments talking about our ideas over Zoom. You know, it was really cool. But I'm so excited to meet everybody at the Grammys next month.
Yeah, look how God works. That is amazing. Yes. One year you're watching it, you're behind your TV, and then now the next year you're doing it. You're actually doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, crazy. Yeah.
Full circle moment right there. So you spoke about, many people don't know, but you are from Memphis, Tennessee, and you started off with gospel music. So that was interesting to me when I read that. And then then you came to New York, where you earned 2 publishing contracts with Jimmy Douglas and Timbaland, correct?
Yeah. So we got introduced to Timbaland. I was in a girl group at the time, and we got introduced to Timbaland, and Jimmy Douglas was pretty much his right-hand man. He was his mixer engineer. And we just started, you know, singing backgrounds and stuff like that in the studio. And that's kind of how we formed the relationship. And then, we started writing and things like that, and then got a publishing deal and a little production contract as a group, because they were going to put our album out as a group before our group broke up and whatever, that whole spiraled something else. But that was amazing, just even being a part of that team for a long time. You know, we were writing for different artists, trying to get placements. And so on and so forth. I ended up doing a big national commercial with Timbaland, and Dave Myers shot the videos, and it was great. It was great. But yeah, that whole being a part of that team actually was schooling for me, because that's kind of where the defining moment where I learned to write, really, you know, because I was writing all the time. Because when you have a publishing contract, you just you have a quota you have to meet pretty much every month, or to submit songs. And so that's what I was doing every single day in the studio, writing, coming up with ideas, recording these ideas. And it was just like a school. And so I am so grateful for that time, because that's what made me the artist I am today. Because before that moment, I didn't really write. I mean, I sang all the time, and I could probably come up with a few things, but I wouldn't necessarily call myself a writer back then. You know, whereas now I'm like, put me in the room.
I can do it. Just give me the pen and paper. I can do it. So what made you come to New York? It was for better opportunities. Just
I just wanted. Yes, I started out with gospel, but in school I was so active. I was always doing talent shows. I was in theater. We were doing shows in theater, and I was just always singing in the church. And I loved music. I loved performing. I even at a young age, I loved fashion. Entertainment was really where my heart was. But, you know, growing up in a small town, sometimes, you know, you feel very limited. How are you going to get there? You know, because at that time it wasn't happening there. You know, there was no social media that you can press a button and suddenly you can be on a platform to the whole world at that point. You are in Memphis. That's it. No one else. No one's going to see you but your family. And if you step outside the door, you sing at church, that's it. Okay. So we didn't have the platforms that a lot of artists have now to actually be in anywhere in the world and actually make things happen. So I was very weary about whether or not there was an industry to get in, and how do you get in it, and what do you do? And of course, you know, parents, especially, you know, ones from the South, they really push being safe, you know, be a doctor, be a lawyer, which is great. If that is your love, I say do it. But obviously it wasn't really for me. But at the time I was, you know, I thought, oh, well, I'll go to school and be a gynecologist. You know, so I went to Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, thinking I was going to go into the nursing program, all these things, you know. And I met my girlfriend, Rashida, in my college town, and she had family in New York. And she was like, oh, I go there on the summers and hang out. And I was like, New York? What? You mean that's not just on TV and movies?
Right.
Like that's at an actual place? So we took the plane, like once we just decided we're gonna go. We took the plane Southwest. I remember Southwest to Philadelphia because it didn't go further than that at the time. And then we took a train from Philadelphia to Penn Station. And it was like that trip, that 3-day or 4-day trip changed my life because I was just like, I'm like, this is where I need to be. Like, I don't want to go back. Like, you know.
So did you ever go back to like live, or you stood in New York the whole time?
No, I had to go back because I was starting the new semester in school and you know, whatever. And so I went back, literally withdrew from my classes, all of that, literally. And I was in New York within about 2.5 to 3 weeks later.
Wow. But your parents are sad, because you know our parents were mad when we
Oh honey, they were not having it. They were not having it.
For classes.
You know, like, where are you going? What are you thinking? They tried to like kidnap me for a second. They were just like, no, she's not thinking straight. Like, you know, like she doesn't really this is not happening. But I really want, that was my passion and I knew it. Like that city just spoke to me. So I stood my ground. It's like, I'm going, done. You know, so I left and I never looked back. Never looked back, never went back home, stayed in New York. You know, it was a struggle, of course, you know, it was a struggle for a long time, taking little odd jobs here and there. I got into fashion, I did some modeling jobs, and some of them were great and some of them were not so great. You know, you just go, there's so many ups and downs and whatever. But I was just so happy to be in a town where it felt like you can actually reach your dreams. You can do things that, you know, speak to your heart. So, yeah, I so I suffered through all the crying, you know, for months because I was homesick and because my family were very close, you know, so not suddenly not being around my family and having my support team right there. It was hard, and New York can be very tough. It's not like any other city in the world, as we know, you know, it's really tough. But if you can survive New York, you can survive anywhere.
From the people to the everything, the crime, everything that's just going on.
Everything. It's full on. It's a full on city. Like you don't get a moment.
Yes, the city that never sleeps.
Yeah, exactly. For real.
So not only do you write, you do it all, of course, but you also do voiceover work as well. So you had some voiceover work in like some big soap operas like The Young and the Restless and All My Children.
So I got into voiceover by mistake. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I did in New York, you know, like voiceovers and jingles were kind of just like chance happenings. But it really wasn't, you know, it really wasn't, because the universe leads you and puts you in situations where you need to be to carry on for the destiny that is meant for you, right? So, you know, the voiceover thing, just because I was modeling at the time, I was going on auditions, and my agency called me for some audition. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a McDonald's, some type of commercial. And I ended up, and I wasn't feeling that great, I remember, for that morning. And it was cold, and I just peeled myself out of bed and went to this audition. Ended up in the wrong audition. It was for, I ended up at the Anheuser-Busch audition instead of the McDonald's commercial. Right? So I'm like, you know, I'm like trying to, and it was, I think, you know, I don't know if I was in the right building. I couldn't remember, but the girl at the front was like, look, you know, because they were finishing up the Anheuser-Busch was a voiceover audition. And she was like, you know, well, can you just sign in and just, you know, it will take you 2 seconds, just go in and, you know, say the lines. And there was a lot of lines. I'm like, oh my God, you know, and this was one that was kind of like, I was going off of they were pairing men and women, girls and boys, whatever, you know, we were going off of each other back and forth. And so I was like, oh God, you know, so they had run out of girls. So they were like, you know, just go in, you know, and blah, blah, blah. So I signed, I was like, okay, you know, whatever. I go in and I'm like trying to read through the lines because I just remember it was a lot of text. And I was like, oh God, you know, so I read through it. So finally I go, I'm paired with some guy. So we're reading back and forth and we're going, okay, great. So now I'm thinking I'm gonna leave out the door. And then they're like, Oh, do you mind? I think there was like 2 other guys. So I read with 3 guys because they ran out of girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 3 opportunities to read those lines on the microphone and everything, So of
Even if
course,
you messed up like one time, you could like do it again.
I have a chance to come back. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I didn't do too bad on the first one, but I was totally in my mind. I was just like, what in the world is going on? I wasn't real, but I just read it, whatever. And so then the second one, then they pulled me in for the third one. And then I was like, okay, you're great. So then I left and literally got the booking. Got booked. So I think just only a few days later, I was recording The Real Thing, and it was crazy. I was like, oh my God, like what in the world is,
Like, you accidentally walked into the wrong spot and you
walked into the wrong spot, never made it, but it's so funny because what if I'd have gone to the McDonald's one, which would probably been a huge cattle call, first of all, probably wouldn't have gotten that one, but I ended up getting something else. But you know what? That audition and that job ended up opening up the door for me to do voiceovers because I never knew about that world necessarily, and then suddenly I was working with people who were in the industry and they were like, oh yeah, you just you can get an agent, you can go on voiceover auditions and telling me how it works. And I'm just like, wow, really? Oh my God, I would love to do that, because suddenly I'm like going on auditions that don't really care. You don't really care about what you look like. You just roll out of bed and just go, put on a hat and you just go, so I loved that a lot. So I started doing that a lot. And then meeting people and how I got into the jingles and stuff like that is with, like I said, I did my first jingle with Timberland. And that was just by chance because I was actually in between auditions and I used to stop by the studio because they were working at the Manhattan Center on 34th Street a lot. So and that's very central and I live far further away. So I was like, okay, well, I'll stop by there in between auditions because maybe I'd had like an hour or 2 in between and I had nowhere to go. So I was like, okay, I'll just stop in the studio. I knew they'd be there, they'd be working. And sometimes I'd be put on a session, sing background or do this or whatever. So I always wanted the opportunity. So I would just sit there. So basically what ended up happening then is at that point, they were doing, I remember Shy Day, the ad agency, was there to do the Kmart Joe Boxer commercial. And a lot of the producers were there and this and that. And the talent wasn't there yet. And they were having a hard time kind of fitting in the words and they wanted to see how it sounded and whatever. And so Jimmy Douglas was like, okay, Cheri can go in the booth. She can put it down real quick, And I was like, okay, so I go in, put it down, this and that. And so then one thing happens to, so then you're like, okay, change this, done it. Then they started fine tuning it. And then suddenly they have it fully there and they're listening and they're going on, and I'm not sitting there just because I'm not thinking anything. I'm not thinking that there's a chance that I can get on this. I don't really know what's going on. I'm just kind of like there. And then suddenly Jimmy says to me, I think you might get on this commercial. And I'm like, what? I might get on this commercial. And he was like, yeah, I think they might keep your vocals as final. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, I think that's what they're talking about. But, let's see, and I was like, but yeah, basically what ended up happening is the girl that they hired was late, I believe. They ended up telling her not to come.
Oh, wow.
And the male talent came and then we fine-tuned some more and he ended up becoming a really good friend of mine and really fully introduced me to the jingle world. And I started working with all these jingle houses and things like that. And that's how I got into the jingle world. And Lisa Sanders, who is one of my dear friends now, she was actually one of the producers from Shy Day. So she was on the ad agency side and we became friends. And she was like, Cheri, you should be doing this all the time. Like, you need to get in with the jingle houses, sing some of these demos, and some of them will go final, some of them won't. Some of them you'll hear from and some, but just be in the cycle of just doing. So that's kind of, it's funny because taking from that, when I look back on things like that, I'm like, it is a cycle of once you get into a cycle in a space that you're enjoying and you're loving, and it's something that you actually want to do. If you get into the cycle of just doing it and trying and, things will happen.
Yes.
Things will happen. And, again, that's another testament to just being open.
Mhm.
Yeah, being open and taking opportunities and just like not closing the door on things because, oh, well, this might not happen, or oh, there's no way, or just kind of second guessing what the situation can become, you know. I don't know.
To go back, would you ever like, do you want to continue to do like voiceover work? Would you do like more?
I do. Well, it's so funny. I just got hired. I just got hired for a few different voiceover jobs. The Audio Leap, the Sonic Leap one with Anthony Anderson is a podcast voiceover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not on camera. You don't see me. It's only our voices. And we only recording in the studio. Yeah. So that was I loved doing that because, you know, obviously, again, you don't have to worry about what you look like. And it was, now I really love using my voice. I get a kick out of it, you know, and trying different things. And I actually auditioned for one of the younger characters. So the podcast, it's a scripted podcast. It's really interesting. It comes out in May, by the way, Sonic Leap. Comes out in May. It is launching the career of this band called Hero the Band, which is this amazing band. I think they're out of Atlanta, but they are amazing group of guys that are just like, really, I feel like their music is just a fusion of pop, hip hop, rock. Like they do so much in this music, and it's incredible. And they're so talented, and they're cool to look at too. They're just like, I mean, their outfits with their, you know, like one of them has like these crazy dreads, and it's really cool. Like you have to check them out. Anyway, so the storyline is that this band, they got a deal, and then something happens in the present world where they get into this time warp, and then they go back in time basically. And they have a girlfriend. One of them has a girlfriend that has a baby. And I auditioned for that character first. And then at first I was going to do that character. Then they wanted me to audition to be one of the boys, one of their moms. And so then I ended up getting that role, which was fantastic because I actually enjoyed that. Because it actually made me use a different part of my voice, you know, and I actually got a chance to use my Southern accent, and like, you know, I was channeling my mom and my grandma. I was like, oh yeah, I love, you know. So it was really fun, and that's all voiceover, and it's scripted, it's a storyline. It's really cool. I cannot wait for it to come out, and I think people are going to be really entertained. And Anthony Anderson is incredible. Of course, we all know he's really talented, and he just brings the energy to the whole thing. He really sets the tone. It's really cool. Really, really cool.
That is amazing. You did a lot. You did it all, and you continue to do it all. Yes, I know this interview went way past. I don't want to keep up too much with time.
I don't even know. I wasn't even keeping up with time. But that means we're having fun.
Yeah, it is. So I don't even look at the time. I'm like, oh my God. Zoom just sent me a message like you went past like your 45 link. Do you want to extend it? So I just extended it because I just have two more questions.
Okay, yeah.
So you worked with so many artists. What's one artist that you haven't worked with yet that you would like to work with?
Oh God, that's such a hard question. Because I admire so many different artists. Boy, I would say I would love, I know, I'm just like, oh gosh, who do I say? Because there's so many, but I would really love to work with. I think that musically, musically, I would say I would love to work with, I would love to do like a collaboration with someone like Alicia Keys, you know, for instance. Like I feel like she puts out things, like she doesn't just put out things just to be putting things, you know, releasing things. She really does take the time to
speak about her life and
manifest. She manifests her messages and what she wants to put out, and I think it's just well crafted. So I love her a lot, and she, you know, I got a chance to meet her once actually at one of my Snook music classes where she brought her son Genesis when he was 2. And it was an incredible moment, unfortunately. And I'm so not a starstruck person. I've met so many people in my lifetime. Like, I don't really get fazed at all.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think at that moment for me, because I just felt like, gosh, Alicia Keys is attending my my toddler music class with her son, and she's actually singing harmonies with me. Like, what is going on right now? So I got kind of like, I just like froze, you know?
Like your emotions get the best.
So weird. Yeah.
It's like anxiety, everything comes out like,
like, I think it was just like, I just couldn't believe it was like, that was actually, I was like, happening. But anyway, but I love her as an artist. And yeah, so I would love to collaborate with her on something. She doesn't do tons of collaborations with other artists, you know, like other female art, like, I mean, she does, but not a lot. Like some artists really collaborate with, you know, and do different things. So I would totally be honored to do that. And who else? Oh my God. And I don't know if this was, and in terms of like movie and television stuff, I would love to do something like with, like Lee Daniels, you know, like I would love to be in one of those films that tells some type of like Black stories or like Southern families or, you know, like something like that. Cause I feel like there's a lot to channel for me coming from Memphis and, you know, having a lot, you know, becoming from a world of discrimination, you know, where I learned about that at a young age and things like that. So pulling from that and actually being able to use that in art and music, film and, you know, television, I think is something I'm actually really yearning to do. Like I'm yearning to do that, to use my past experiences to help tell a story. So I think he's one of like the prolific Black directors these days, you know, that's doing a lot of great work. So I would love to work with Lee Daniels. Of course, you know, Tyler Perry's doing his thing. Yeah, you know, oh my God. Oh, you know who else I would love to work with? Oh, one of my favorites right now, John Baptiste. I just love him. I love his energy.
He is great.
Right? He just like, I don't know where he came from.
He brings, he has like a different energy. He brings like a different, you could just sense that. I never met him. He just does this thing. I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, he just popped on the scene. I actually really need to go back and see his story and see, I'm sure there's a lot there and he probably just didn't start a few years ago. He's probably been doing it forever. You know, you just have to learn the story. But I mean, I just love that there's no boundaries for him. He just puts his art out there. He does what he does. He looks how he wants to look. And like, it's amazing. I love artists that are able to do that, you know? So yeah. The artist that's versatile, that's always like the go-to. So we're going to make sure this goes viral because we need Alicia Keys, Lee Daniels, John Baptiste, and we need Tyler Perry. Everybody because Cheri Moon needs to work with you guys.
Let's speak that into existence. Here we go.
So last but not least, what is next for the most beautiful Cheri Moon? What are you going to do? What's your future plans? Like, do you have besides the Anthony Anderson project that's coming out in May, you said you're going to the Grammys next month. Like, what's next for you this year?
So I'm also right now at this moment, I'm actually getting ready to release the remixes for Ain't I a Woman. So DJs in Europe, as you said in the beginning, have been doing remixes and spinning them in the clubs in Europe and things like that. So I'm actually going to release several remixes in the next week, basically. And Sophie Pierce, who is this amazing female director, documentarist, is recutting the video for Ain't I a Woman. So that's going to be a new release for the Ain't I a Woman, like the International Women's Month, which I love to be a part of all things women, you know, woman. And yeah, so I'm doing that. And then also I'm working on a new Snook Nook album right now. And I'm working on a holiday album, a Christmas album.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. And then, yeah, I know there's a whole list. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I have so many things I want to do, you know, and I will get to them and I will do them because you have to, if you say you're going to do something, I feel like you have to like follow through. That's how things happen. but yeah, so I'm working on several different albums and a lot of different like film projects that are coming up, which is really cool. I'm going to the film festival actually in Idaho, the Sun Valley, at the end of March as well for this film Passenger C, which is directed and written by Cassian Elwes, who is amazing. And so I'm excited about that to be releasing. And yeah, I'm just open for just, you know, different projects. I'm really getting into the film and television space with the adult content and also the children's content, because I really want to release something animated and live action for children as well.
Yes, that's amazing. You had a full year ahead of you have a busy schedule, but I'm happy for you. You look amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
you. Your Grammy. May you win. We're gonna manifest that you win. You will win. You will win.
Exactly.
You will win. When you win, yes, definitely when you win. Thank you so much, Cheri Moon. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me. It's been amazing to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me today, and just like actually really taking the time out to be interested and ask me all these amazing questions and giving me the time to talk. So I'm grateful.
Yes, I have to do my research and I have to dig more and I have to know what the person's doing, what's next, what they did before, where they from. I need to know it all. So I'm happy that we got the time to speak today. It's been great. And after you win your Grammy, I'm going to email you so we can have another interview. We're going to speak about your acceptance speech and how you did and everything.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna email Leah Perry once everything is like edited and stuff, and I will let you know about the.
Absolutely, and you have to get stream Snook Nook music for your 1-year-old, for your kid.
I will. Yes,
yeah.
I will.
There's 2 albums out there, and it's fantastic. Honestly, trust me. Like you'll be like your child will be singing all the songs you want her to sing.
Honestly, I'm looking to find new music for her because I'm tired of hearing hot dog, dog. Exactly. I am really tired of listening to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. That is like her favorite show. I cannot.
That's funny.
But yes, I'm definitely gonna stream it. I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna let her listen to it. So
yeah, awesome.
We'll be in touch. Thank you.
I will see you later. Thank you. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.